Hello and welcome to the Kerry Garden Show here at Boyles of Killorglin. Alan Finn here with you, and I am joined of course by our gardening expert Trish. Trish, good afternoon, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Alan.
Good. You have got lots of flowers here in front of us, and I believe we're going to be talking about rhodos and azaleas.
We are indeed. Every garden now that has an azalea, it would be in full flower at the moment. And even if you went out to Muckra's Gardens for a walk, you'll see all these colourful bushes in around the house, and you wonder what they are. They're azaleas and rhododendrons.
Okay, exactly,
so
right.
They're fabulous.
So the one thing I guess we must start on is where to start with these is the soil type, because these are very, very specific to the soil type. So if you wanted to actually bring them into your garden, you need to do a few things, don't you?
You do. First of all, I suppose they do need a peaty soil, no lime in the soil. So again, if you have heathers grown already, that's the right type of soil. If you've got camellias, if you've got blue hydrangeas. But if you've nothing like that, you can actually buy little soil testing sample kits, and they're very, very simple and they're very, very cheap, and you can actually find out what soil type you have in your garden. So if it's peaty, you can plant all this colour here in front of me. I suppose when planting them then as well, it's probably no harm to add in some compost when planting them, and there is a specific compost to use, and it's an ericaceous compost. So you could plant that down with it. When planting them then, the azaleas are usually very shallow rooted and very fibrous root, so you actually wouldn't plant them too deep.
Right.
So
when you say fibrous, that means that there's lots of them. They're
very,
tightly knit.
very fine roots on it. So you don't want to plant them too deep, because then if it gets very, very wet or everything,
they'll just rot.
Yeah, the plant will rot or whatever. So plant them at the same depth that they are in the pot with the soil surface. Don't go down too deep. So basically, when you're digging a hole, I dig it actually wider rather than deeper. Okay, so obviously for that reason then, do they need a good bit of space? Well, again, these grow to about maybe 1 metre in width and 1 metre in height. Okay. So if you were planting them, you'd plant them about 3 feet apart. Okay, so that should be fine. Right, but again, why I'm saying to dig the hole wider is to give the roots, because they kind of go out rather than down. Of course, okay. So that's why you're kind of loosening up the soil around it, so that they get into the ground a little bit quicker. Okay.
Now there is obviously lots of different types of azaleas and rhodos, and the fact these ones are in full bloom, there are different ones for different types of the year.
Yes, there is. Like all of these ones we have here in front of us flowering this time of the year. A lot of the larger rhododendrons, and even as you say, the wild rhododendron, you see, they will be flowering that little bit later. We have them in stock as well. They're actually just there behind you, and they're actually full of bud at the moment.
They're just close to being popping.
They're close to coming out. They'll be out within the next couple of weeks. So I suppose when planting like that, as we always say when you're doing a bed, planning is very, very important. So you have these that are in flower at the moment, and then what else would you plant with azaleas? Hydrangeas would be a good one as well.
So they kind of complement each other.
They do, because the hydrangeas then will flower from July up until about October. So at least then you'll have these that are flowering April, May, and then you'll have the hydrangeas coming on later in the season then as well.
So talk to us about some of the varieties we have here.
Yeah, again now you can get ones with green leaves. I have a lovely one here, like even if you see the flower, if anybody's on Facebook, the flower is absolutely fabulous.
Beautiful, lovely and
you
small.
hardly see any of the leaves
on
an azalea,
there's so many flowers.
It just covers it all over. Now to see, if you put them in full sun, you'll actually get an abundance of flowers, because they just love it. If you put it in shade, you'll find that the plant is kind of going for the light.
Will it be kind of lopsided depending on the more?
Yeah, but they will flower, and the flower will probably last that little bit longer in part shade. So don't have it in full sun the whole day. If you either had it in light shade in the morning or the evening, that would be best for the plant then. So there's like, if you can imagine, if you've got full sun on a plant every day, it's just taking all the energy out of the plant. It flowers profusely, and then it flowers for a short time. Very quickly. Even there was a lady in here a while ago, and she just seen the table we'd set up, and she says, "Oh, azalea at home," she says, and it's absolutely fabulous. She says they're short and flowering, but she says they're well worth it for the blast of colour that you get this time of the year. So like that, I said, there's a green leaf on that, but this one then has got a variegated leaf in it. Because you have to remember, when the flower goes off it, they are actually evergreen. So that makes a big thing. So evergreen, then it means that they keep onto their leaves all year round. So with the variegated leaf, obviously the little extra colour along the yellow and along the edges, it gives it a nice look as well. You have interest in it for the rest of the year then as well, when you've got the variegated. Again, they come in all different colours. I've got vivid pinks there, you've got whites, you've got lilacs, you've got deeper purples.
Beautiful. We have a little bee popping in.
A bumblebee now coming in again on top of that. And they just absolutely love love it.
Yeah.
So like that, and there's a beautiful small dwarf rhododendron here, and it's called, I think that one is Baden-Baden.
Baden-Baden,
yeah,
yes,
or
that's
Scarlet Wonder is another variety as well. But that is such a good red, like it's a very strong red. They're ideal for pots as well.
Yeah.
And if you are putting them into a pot, make sure to put the right type of soil, which is your ericaceous compost, into your pot. And you could plant that and put a little summer bedding then around it, and you'll have your evergreen then in the middle then as well.
And now what if, for example, some of the leaves might start to kind of die or maybe kind of go a bit yellow or anything like that? Is there anything you can kind of add specifically for them?
There is, like there's iron tonics that you can get. There's a very good one here. It's called a Sequestrated Iron Plant Tonic.
Okay.
It's a sachet that you make up into a liquid and put it into a watering can, and what you do then is put it around the base of the plant. Because of the iron then, that will green up your leaf. Now with the sachets you can actually do that once a year.
Oh, just the once?
Just the once a year. And like we were saying before, like when to feed plants, it's when the growth starts, so that it'll actually take it into the plant. So that's it's sequestrated iron.
So putting it like later in the season is probably a little bit of a waste.
Well, the only thing, if you are doing it later in the season, say in the middle of the summer, if the soil is very dry, make sure to water the soil.
Yeah, or else
so
like
that it's
always
moist. Because iron, especially whatever we say about Miracle Grow or tomato feed, will burn your roots. The iron will scorch all around it.
God.
But if you wanted something as well, just to give the plant, even if it's not very yellow, but it's kind of lacking the vigour or whatever, and you want to give it a boost, we've got a seaweed-based sequestrian iron as well. And that's absolutely excellent. And you can put that down a couple of times throughout the year.
Yeah,
and that'll green it up and keep the plant healthy then as well.
And it's not just good for the rhodos and azaleas, is it good for other...
It's good for your camellias, it's good for all ericaceous plants, anything that needs, or heathers, anything like that would be quite good as well.
Okay.
So they're very good. Or then we also, there's a lot of different brands of what you can use. There's Azealia, Camellia, Rhododendron. It's like the ordinary Miracle Grow, but it's specifically for the azaleas. And you put all them on with a watering can. So like that now, I suppose, you go back to your planting, you could nearly plant in 3s or 5s depending on the size of your garden, so that you're getting good effect from a distance. Keep to the one colour, so have your 3 pinks together, have your 3 whites together, have your 3 purples together, and you'll get fabulous colour. And as I say, interplant it then with summer flowering shrubs, and then with your hydrangeas that'll be later on in the season then as well.
Now I do want to talk about this new variety, because we've got a new variety of of the azaleas here, and there's something very unique about these.
Excellent. As I was saying, that these all usually flower April, May, and then they're green and they're gone. But that particular one flowers later in the season.
So this is called Azealia Bloom Champion, and it comes in pink, and we also have it in white
then as
Beautiful.
well.
So 2 flowering
like they are in flower at the moment, and they'll flower up until about the end of May, start of June. They'll stop flowering then. It probably would be a good time then to give it a bit of an iron tonic.
Yes.
If you had sulphate of potash, which brings on the flowering better, to give it a fistful of that around it, and then you'll find around the end of July, middle end of July,
the buds will
it'll start to come again.
That's fantastic.
And like that is absolutely brilliant. And that could flower anything up until the end of August, September.
Wow, so that's great. Like, especially as you said, that lady, imagine if she got 2 bursts of that colour over the course of the season.
Fabulous. So even if you have azaleas or rhododendrons planted at the moment and you have space, I would recommend to put in that one, the Bloom Champion is what it's called. So they'd be absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, and I do love this this blue diamond rhodo here as well too. It's fabulous.
Yeah, because you can actually even see the stamens are coming up on it that little bit higher, and they actually look lovely as well. And as we did see, the bumblebee was in on top of it.
He had a few of his buddies there now. It's a good job I didn't flinch because that's the sort of thing now that we have to also think about. It brings a lot to the garden. And,
it does.
Now this one here is very, very different, isn't it? It's kind of long and stalky.
It is like that now. You're kind of coming up. That's the new growth coming up out of it, and you can see there's all leaves and that, and the lower one then have the flowers. So when the flowers come off, sometimes if it gets very leggy, it might be no harm just to clip it back a bit to keep the bush nice and bushy then. So that'd be nice.
And what's that one now again?
That variety then is Sylvester.
Sylvester, that's him.
So that one is a nice one then as well.
Yeah.
Now the thing is as well, they don't like, even though I say don't put them in sopping wet, they don't like to be too dry
either, yeah.
So after planting with that, I'd nearly mulch them off with a nice mulch. Again, you could put the Irish Acacia's compost around it. Now don't heap it up too much in around the plant itself, because remember I said they're shallow rooted.
Yes.
So just put it around it, and then if you got a bark,
yeah,
and you could put that around. Because
that was actually the last thing I was going to actually ask you, actually, in regards to, you know, especially if you're planting them in a fresh bed, and you said they're 3 feet apart and they're quite small. It'll take them a while to grow.
It'll take them a while.
What would you put in between? So bark mulch.
Mulch, yeah, and that'll just keep it. Or even if you want to keep the bare soil and just get a hoe out, and you could hoe the weeds every now and again, and they'll be quite happy at that. I wouldn't recommend spraying with a chemical around azaleas, because they're so shallow rooted that you'd be afraid then if the roots were coming up and you'd be hitting the roots as well. So I would just get a hoe and just keep it clean then.
And the signs that all that is happening is, you're talking about again the yellow leaves.
Exactly, or if they're dropping, or if they're under stress, or if you find the first year when you're planting them as well, just to keep them watered if you get a warm summer, if you get a sunny summer, until they get settled into the ground and that they can produce their own roots to be able to draw moisture from the soil then as well.
Of course, yeah. And of course it is so important to say that these are cultivated. Don't go near the wild. My goodness, we don't want to bring that on anyone.
Like that now when we're selling the large rhododendrons, people be going, is that the wild one? And it's not, because like if you put the wild one in your garden and just keep spreading, it's invasive.
We've spoken about it before, and the amount of trouble that it does bring with it. So even if somebody was out in the national park and they thought, oh, it might bring some there, do not, because they're tricky enough to kind of get rid of.
And again, you're probably better off just to come in. Even if you're not ready to plant them, come in, have a look at the colours, take the names, so that you'll actually know if you're not ready for another month or 2 months and you do want to plant them, because the colours, there's just so many, as you say, the smaller flowers, the different shapes to all the flowers and everything.
It is, fantastic, fantastic.
So just come in and have a look at them.
And if you were to come in right now and would this be the right time to plant them? That is, I guess, the last question,
As I said, like that, you'll see what colour flower they are. Now, if I was to plant this one, it's in full flower at the moment. I would gently take it out of the pot. I wouldn't do much with the root system unless it's very, very congested that you need to tear it. You might drop some of the flowers then. That's the only thing. Won't kill the plant or anything. It's actually a good time to plant them, because you do see what colour they are and you know what you have.
Excellent, and you'll know what you'll have for next year.
Exactly.
Excellent. Okay, great, Trish. So finally, before we finish up, we've got some lovely little plants down the front here. You might just pick 1 or 2 of these up.
That's right.
And tell us a little bit about these, because these are also quite good to plant at the moment as well, aren't they?
They are, and they're also the same type of soil as your azaleas, the peaty soil. This one is Flame of the Forest, would be the common name people would have it. You have one there now, it has the red shoots on it.
Beautiful, yeah.
They're absolutely fabulous. You'll see them in the gardens now for the next couple of weeks. So
Pyrrhus is what they're called.
Pyrrhus, or Flame of the Forest, or you have a mountain fire.
Flame.
Now you can see with the mountain fire is that it's a darker red on top, whereas the Flame of the Forest has the lovely bright red. Both of them are beautiful. Again, they're evergreen, and they also have a lovely white,
lovely little flowers,
white flower on it, like the lily of the valley. So they're fabulous. And again, this particular one now, it has a variegated leaf on it as well. So they're absolutely, that's Flamingo Silver is the name of that one.
Okay.
But again, you'll see them now in the next couple of weeks, and we have plenty of them in stock at the moment. What it is, it's actually the new growth when it comes on.
Yeah, you can tell the different colours of green there now.
They produce the little red shoots on them, and they're absolutely fabulous. Now, the best place to plant them would be out of the direct morning sunlight.
Okay, so they're a bit sensitive to the morning sun.
Well, it's because that if you get frost the night before and the sun hits it directly on top of the frost, it'll scorch.
Okay.
So a light shady area is perfect, and that will prolong the red shoots for that bit longer then as well.
Excellent. And again, as I said, it works perfectly well in the same soil
yes,
as all of the azaleas, camellias and rhodos.
And you've good interest then in the colour of the leaves, you know, when the flowers are gone in these.
Even just to see them in amongst them here now, it'll work really,
perfect.
really well.
Yeah.
And the variegated leaf on that
Flaming
Silver, I love
Flaming
that.
Silver, that is beautiful, because between the red leaf, the flower and the variegated leaf, I think you have it all.
Yeah, absolutely, you've got everything covered. Great stuff. Well, that's a lot covered here today as well too, Trish. So listen, Garden. Thanks very much as always for bringing this beautiful colour, and hopefully you at home have got lots out of the show. Do let us know if you have any questions. We'll be putting up a little question time up on our Instagram and Facebook page a little bit during the week, so do send in some questions for Trish and we'll get them answered as best we can. But until next time, for myself, Trish and Dave, our cameraman here at Boyles of Killorglin, we'll talk to you next week. Happy gardening.